CEO Dave Baszucki. Dave Baszucki, welcome to Hard Fork.
It is great to be here. Thank you.
You have joined us today to talk about this new age gating policy that Roblox is rolling out to protect kids. And I think we should start by just talking about the scope of the problem here. What has led you to this point, and how do you think of the problem of predators on Roblox?
We think of it not necessarily just as a problem, but an opportunity as well. How do we allow young people to build, communicate, and hang out together? How do we build the future of communication at the same time? So we've been, I think, in a good way working on this ever since we started. And when we were, this was almost 18 or 19 years ago, when we first launched the company, and we had just 4 of us sitting in a room, we were literally the moderators. Like, we would rotate all the time. And so fast forward to where we are today, it's just like every week, what is the latest tech at the scale we're at? 150 million daily actives, 11 billion hours a month. Like, what is the best way to keep pushing this forward? And as you correctly note, we've just started adding that we're going to be using facial age estimation with AI to complement that.
Right. So tell us a little bit about how this works. All users of Roblox now, if they want to communicate with others, they're going to have to kind of submit to a face scan?
That's correct. And I think long-term face scan isn't the only signal. Like, mathematically, the more signals that are convoluted, the better the accuracy and the better we can get. So we already have signals. We have behavioral signals. We have photo ID upload signals. We have user-suggested age. But we're complementing that with a facial age estimation signal that literally, in an ephemeral way, use your phone, use your PC, scan an image, do a good AI estimation. Image isn't stored.
And start using that to complement all the other things we do. And we already do a pile of stuff. We have very, very good text filters. We have very, very good, there's no image sharing. We're doing a bunch of monitoring. But adding one more signal to that can really help us make cool decisions.
I want to learn more about this face scanning technology. But first, I'm just struggling to understand exactly how many of your users are which ages. My impression from the outside as a non-daily active user of Roblox is that a lot of kids who are 9, 10, 11, 12 are on the app. What is sort of the most popular age band of active users on Roblox?
This is really interesting, and I think this goes to what we've been saying for a while, in that maybe for the last 5 to 10 years, people look at Roblox and say, well, these are kind of these primitive games and everyone on the platform is pretty young. We've seen that migrate over the last 5 years from predominantly under 13 to now, I believe we recently said self-reported almost 2/3 over 13. And we can see those numbers growing and growing. Like, fastest growing segments on Roblox are 21 and up right now.
Or at least people who say they're 21 and up.
Yeah. Now I think those numbers have a fair amount of current efficacy. We're obviously balancing those with age estimation because we want a tighter estimation. But just looking at the size of the cohorts and the growth rates, there's a fair amount of accuracy to that.
When the EU rolled out some age assurance technology earlier this year, we saw a lot of kids that just took a photo of a video game character and used that to pass the age checks. How confident are you that your systems can avoid that kind of
I think we have a lot of opportunity here in that we already have other signals that are maybe not as reliable, but when combined are very reliable. We also have the opportunity, this isn't just a one-time thing. Roblox experiences are, you're holding a phone. In many cases, we can use signals from your phone or the camera to animate your face, for example. So this isn't kind of a one-stop shop thing. This is possibly checking as we go. If we see weird signals, do another age check as we go. So I'm pretty optimistic, kind of the more naive, like, take a picture of that. We're going to go way beyond that. And it's going to get harder and harder to fingerprint in that way.
So after you roll out these changes, you're going to sort of sort users into bands, and depending on, if you're like 13, you're only going to be able to talk to people within a few years of your age. For most of Roblox's history, though, that has not been the case. Any anonymous adult could talk to any anonymous minor. Why was that the case?
I think we've always, from day one, really focused very heavily on quality of text filtering. And if anything, we've had very, very historically restrictive text filtering over time. One of the biggest complaints on Roblox, and arguably trading in a good way safety for growth, has been complaints of communication on the platform. Like, there's a lot of Roblox memes and themes. If you go back and dig into them, everyone's just saying hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. And there's been a lot of...
Because that's how you blur out words.
That's correct. So there's a lot of historical memes about historical hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. With AI, these filters have gotten better and better. The state of where we are now is primarily getting into the blocking of adversarial attempts to broach the filter and adversarial attempts to try to share PII, which we're getting better and better at as well. On the age estimation, it's just, I would say, recently come of age to the point where we would complement it. But I would say our strategy is always complement with whatever technology is out there to put that together.
Yeah, I don't know. When I read these lawsuits and these investigations into the company, it does not seem like predators are having that hard of a time getting around your filters. Like, you read the allegations, and it's, people kind of, change a few keywords, a few letters here, they're able to get what they need. So I'm curious maybe so confident.
Yeah, I don't want to comment on it. We do see the chat logs of those, and we can see interesting and many times ways of people trying to, I'd say, many times people who are fairly sophisticated, I'm not going to say all of them, many times kids who are over 13 who actually in any other app are not running in a filtered situation, unfortunately figuring out how to jump to some other platform where they can communicate unfiltered, where they can share images, all of it. It's one of the primary things we're doing is trying to keep people on our platform. It's an interesting industry situation. I would say we're not waiting for the rest of the industry. We're always trying to stay ahead of it. On the California Age Appropriate Design Code, for example, we're already doing all of that stuff on, and the same thing with age estimation. We're not doing this because of any laws that are coming. We think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned sort of kids leaving the platform, and it does become clear in this lawsuits that Roblox is kind of, where predators go to find kids, but then they do try to...
I would say in the lawsuit or the press, yes, I would categorically reject the actual description of what you're saying. But yes, what you might read in the news would portray it that way. But
you don't think you have a problem with predators on the platform?
I think we're doing an incredible job at innovating relative to the number of people on our platform and the hours in really leaning into the future of how this is going to work.
So let me ask a question about the other platforms there, because I agree with you that this is not a story about one company. Like what we see is predators will come to a place like Roblox and they try to get a child somewhere else. Like Discord is a platform that kind of comes up a lot. Seems to me like you could probably stop a lot of abuse if you prevented those platform shifts from happening. So like what can you do in that regard? Like, in my mind, if you see somebody chatting like, hey, like what's your Discord username, and it's an adult talking to a minor, that seems like it's a red flag. Maybe you're doing some of that kind of
stuff. I would actually say that is a very simple red flag.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like text filter many prior generations. So I would say that the techniques are much more sophisticated than that. We're constantly getting better than that. And sometimes it's adversarial. Like we're getting into, if we cryptographically, we're going to try to have an exchange of how to share your Snap handle or whatever handle. We see some of that starting, like things we'll have to essentially prevent in the future.
I don't understand. Like, what do you mean like a cryptographic exchange?
Imagine you and I were trying to share the name of an airport somewhere in the world, and we were getting blocked by all of the filters. We might actually start getting really creative, like use the third letter of every fifth word to spell out the airport. And those are the kind of things we get into right now.
I sort of a basic question, and forgive me if this betrays my naivete about Roblox and how the platform works, but like, why have a sort of open-ended text communication feature at all in a game that is very popular with young people? Like, I have a son, he's too young to play Roblox or any other game, but I can imagine saying as a parent of a slightly older child, like, I just don't want my kid playing games that allow them to chat with other people in this way. There are lots of games out there that don't have that kind of feature. Why is this so core to the way that Roblox works?
Well, I would highlight that a couple things. First, there's enormous benefits for having people be able to communicate, and we see those benefits. There's a lot of kids who find their peeps on Roblox. There's a lot of kids when they're lonely or isolated actually. I'm not going to use it as an excuse or anything, but I get a lot of calls from famous parents who said, look, my kid would be dead if it were not for finding a community on a platform like Roblox to stay connected with. And I would also say we do take it as an enormous responsibility to design for not the sophisticated parent who goes in and says, look, I'm going to turn off who you can chat to and all of that. We have to design for all parents and think through that. But we do believe we have enormously great technology up and down the stack. We think it's part of building an experience like this. If you go out there in the gaming space, I think it is very common to support communication. I'm not going to list any other games. And typically, we are way beyond in, I'd say, our innovation level, responsibility level, and both the filtering on the image sharing on all of these things.
Is it fair to say that you think that any platform of Roblox's size with the number of young users Roblox has would be experiencing similar safety challenges?
I wouldn't categorize any of that. I would say we're at a scale that is somewhat mind-boggling. So I'm not going to run any excuse numbers of Roblox relative to any other platforms. But I would say at a scale of 11 billion hours is very different than a scale of 10 million hours. It's 1,000 times that size of it. And I would say the scale we're at is quite enormous. It's 150 million people every day. It's many more than that every month. And relative to an individual game, the scale's enormous. We have experiences on our platform right now which have 25 million people playing at the same time. And traditionally in the gaming market, the record prior to that I think was 11 or 12 for all of Fortnite. And prior to that, big numbers are considered 1 million for a single game. Like I remember when Minecraft hit 1 million users. So think about that. A whole platform at some point in time like Minecraft hitting 1 million users, a single game on Roblox hitting 25 million users. So
but you guys want that scale, right? You court it. You send push notifications. You give people daily login rewards. Like, you want the millions and the millions to show up.
I think we actually see there being an incredible opportunity if that scale is going through platforms with good systems. It's actually a big thing. And the scale already exists. Like the gaming space, in a way, is $190 billion. So we now have about 3 or 4% of that. I guess 3% coming through Roblox. So I would say we like the scale. It creates an opportunity for individual game creators who might be making their game by themselves without part of systems like that to make it as part of a more overall system.
Here's the dynamic that I think that people find frustrating. We have many large tech platforms right now. They seek this enormous scale. They reach previously unseen heights. And then they notice they have a problem. And they go in and they try to solve it to some degree. And then they keep going further. And then there's another problem. And I think to some degree, that dynamic is probably inevitable. But I think what a lot of people want, what a lot of parents want, is some sense that people have a plan for what is going to happen when the 25 million people show up, right? And I think they're looking at people like you to see around these corners. And to not wait till 20 years in existence to say, maybe we should sort these people into age bands before they start communicating with each other.
Yeah, I would push back on that a bit, and I can hear what you're saying. But I would actually say for people inside of our company, the way we think about it and the way we do look ahead of it, we're constantly looking ahead. And we're not, it goes back to the very first thing we did probably a month into the company. So a month into the company, fun little story, there's about 200 people on Roblox. And what should we do? Should we keep growing it, or should we go build a safety system? And so 200 people in, let's stop everything, let's go build a safety system, and let's let the 4 of us go and become moderators. So behind the scenes, I do agree with you, enormous responsibility, enormously important to preempt this. It's why a lot of the architectural and decisions we've been making have been made, but we're going to keep doing them, right? And you can imagine Roblox at 20x the scale, having 50% of the gaming market space all in a single place. Like, we'll keep innovating on top of that.
Last year, activist fund and short seller Hindenburg Research came out with a report arguing, among other things, that Roblox was, quote, compromising child safety in order to report growth to investors. One of the things they pointed to was that there had been a decline in your spending on trust and safety. You have denied that. Why? What did they have wrong?
Let's keep going down this. And so first off, Hindenburg's no longer in existence, correct? So you should report on that. They went out of business for some reason. The other thing is, have you researched that information? Because you're asking me about this, I'm curious if you've done your own research.
I've done some research about it.
And what's your take on that?
I want to ask you.
So it's really interesting because
I think we're diving into a situation where we're getting better. But would you ask the same situation of someone who converted from maybe hyper-manual labor, making cars by hand, to an assembly line? The assembly line might be infinitely better and at the same time not have so many people. So I think what they're referring to is moving more and more and more to AI. Arguably, is it better to have AI systems reviewing every image, every piece of text, all of that, or to keep doing that manually? So I think that was a misnomer. And I think if you interview anyone in our safety team or safety systems, that would be just part of making our systems better. So just the clear thought. The bottom is that the shift has been from a more manual safety team and system to a more automated review process that may do a better job, even if it costs less to operate. Because, yeah, we're actually moving harder. The shift would be constantly moving to higher quality, more accurate, and more diligent systems. Can we review more? Can we do more better? And say you and I were a system, what is the best way to review every single image going into Roblox at higher and higher quality? And say we figured out that the best way to do that is to do it with better and better AI models. Would you pick that? Yeah? Good. So you're aligning with what we did. High five. But I've also been covering thank you for supporting our Roblox decision makers. I'm so glad you guys are aligned with the way we run Roblox. I remember 15 years ago when my sister was saying, is this a stealth interview where actually you love everything we're doing and you're here to stealthily support it? We were supposed to want to come in and talk about innovation technology. I came here because I love your podcast and came to talk about everything. So if our PR people said, let's talk about age dating for an hour, I'm up for it. I came here to talk about everything.
about the blue, blue sky, and all that I can see is just a yellow lemon tree.